Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. Here I am again. So today I'm going to follow with this the design I started on the previous week. As you can see here, this is kind of tiger bangle or bracelet. So today I'm gonna be working on this piece, trying to develop a bit more the design, refining more the forms and so on. So let me know if my voice sounds good. The music is not too loud because I'm still testing the music volume. I'm not sure if the music is you're able to listen my music, because on the previous week nobody could listen to music. Maybe today is too loud. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna put it a little bit down. Okay, welcome Lefe from Brazil. Welcome. Hey Fexer, how are you? Yeah, perfect balance of music. Right, so today is the day. So lastly I read the right volume for the music. Maybe I'm listening a bit too loud. Let me adjust a bit my volume, and let us start. So again, this is what I have in mind for today. I'm gonna follow with this design, but anyway, do you have any other questions related to any other ZBrush workflows or in any other techniques? So the questions that you can send me, it's not necessary that they be exactly about what I'm doing or exactly about what we are talking today. You can talk about any other things, of course, related of ZBrush themes. But you have any other questions related to any other workflows, as I said before, any other techniques or special brushes or whatever, just send your questions. I'm gonna try to pay as more attention as possible to the chats, and will try to help you as more as I can to give you all of the answers I can. And hey Miralba, how are you? And to be here will help you and to share with you, with the community, my knowledge about ZBrush. So this is what you are seeing on the screen. One of the things that I thought could be interesting, I hope it will be interesting, is to talk about the kind of start talking about the Mpr filters. You know that inside of ZBrush, if you go to the render menu here you have a bunch of filters. They are called Dpr filters, and normally in ZBrush we call them NPR instead of BPR. It means non-photorealistic renders. That means that we can start making some kind of filtering, like working on Photoshop, to achieve this kind of finishing. This is the reason why the bangle or the bracelet looks like this, with this kind of gold shiny effect. So if I click on the BPR button, I can get this kind of thing. This finishing, this kind of render, you can achieve this kind of render with a list of different renders where you can find them here inside of the Dpr filters. Maybe this can be interesting to start talking about this, how I've made this kind of finishing. You can see every time you hit the BPR is the rendering system by default that ZBrush has. And for example, if we go here, you can see I am using all of them, 12 filters at a time. For example, if I click on the filter number 12, you can see this kind of filter works as an outline edge. Let me see if I can use the I never remember how to use the magnify glass. Well, this is the canvas is so bright. No, here it is. Magnify glass is to Shift M. Shift M. So if I click on Shift M, you can see here I am using an outline H filter. So if I turn this off, let me render it first, like this. If I turn this off, you can see the effect I'm achieving with we are getting with this filter. Let's click here again to see the render. So if I turn, now it's off, on and off, you can see the effect. It's like we are adding this kind of subtle black lines on the edges. If we go to the modifiers, for example, we can play with the thickness, we can play with the fall off to start getting different results. You can see now the effect, how it works. And for example, the next one, the F11, is Displace. This is for achieve this kind of water paint. You can see it here at the bottom. This kind of non-regular border looks like a watercolor effect. If I turn this off, you can see it disappear. This is the Displace filter. You can see I can apply more strength or less to apply this kind of irregularities on the edges. Let me see what else. Hola José Ignacio, bienvenido. And F10 is drop shadow. Drop shadow works as the name says. This drop shadow that you can see here. You can see if I turn this off and on. Inside of the modifiers, you can play with the offset. You can put it here or there, or on the y-axis, on the x-axis. You can play with the transparency, the opacity, to give it more strength or less. The F9 outline H, something similar, but this effect happens not in the inside. It works mostly to achieve this kind of, you can see here that the subtle lines appear on the border. Looks like pencil lines. FA sharpen is just to sharpen the image. Texture overlay, this is very important for the whole finishing. You can see this kind of paper texture you can see on the background. You can achieve this with this is an image I imported from the outside. I downloaded from the internet. If I turn this off, you can see this is the difference, mostly on the background. Gamma is to make color corrections. You can see here the effect to apply more strength on the shadows, or if I click here 100%. And for example, S4 is a little bit of noise. You can see here, this is very important to apply this kind of hand painting render. You can see here. If I turn this off, you can see the noise appears or disappears. Applies an extra feeling of hand painted finishing. F3 intensity. This nothing happens here. More displacement. And if number one is sharpen, more or less the same. But the most important one maybe are the texture overlay and the two outline edges, and we have here too, and that's it. So you can get this kind of handmade drawing renders, or whatever you can call them. So let's start the sculpting for now. Of course, you can play with the materials too. For example, you can see now I'm working with yellow color. If I put it on white, maybe we can achieve this kind of more silver finishing. But the problem, okay, the difference, the issue that we are having here is, for example, you can see the lines here, they are not gray, they have some kind of brown color. Let me see, are these ones. You can click here and change the color, for example, to white. Looks like we are using a charcoal or white pencil, or black. Looks like more made with a black pencil, or maybe you can play with blue. You can play with a lot of settings here. This is one of the parts of ZBrush. When I have a piece or a model made, I love to play with this filters. If we change the material, everything completely changed as well. You can see, for example, let's see if we go to this one or to this one. This is the one that I use by default for sculpting. This one, we can the finishing completely changed. But this is the reason why I use this material. This is the hair number 2 with different white or black or white or gray color to achieve this kind of. And also another cool render we can do, for example, if we apply here white and we go again to the render tab and we turn on the ambient occlusion, now we are getting this kind of oxidized silver effect. Maybe we can put it a little bit darker here. Let's apply more intensity. You can see the kind of finishing that you can achieve there. This is very cool. Maybe if we change now the color from to white, achieve this kind of finishing on the border, and apply less displace because now it's too aggressive. This, you can see how many different results or different finishings you can achieve with the filter systems inside of ZBrush. So I love to play with the filters to achieve the different effects, mostly to have this kind of hand-painted effect to my renders, to my representation of my models. Okay, let me see if I lost any questions. See the light. Yeah, more like this. Okay, maybe I can turn this on. Okay, let's go to the. I don't want to save the changes on the project. So. I was making some changes on the head mostly because I still don't like it very much, too much. And maybe everything is working. Okay, so I'm gonna still be here working. This is what I have so far. What I'm gonna do is, most of the time when I do rings or bracelets, I used to work with the floor active, with the 3 axes active, X, Y, and Z. You can see there floating on the air. They're so tiny because we are working with a big piece. It's not a big, reality is not a big piece, but ZBrush, it's a big piece. That's the reason why we can see the grids or the floor so small. We go to the draw menu here, and here we can play with the grid size to make them bigger. And now change the elevation to 0. They are set exactly in the middle of the workspace. So this is a big help. Let's make it bigger. And let's put the field mode to 0 because I don't want to see the colors. This is a good, I'm gonna open my applications for start painting graphics on the screen. John Stewart, hi, how are you? Just want to know if anyone has ZBrush occasionally crashed when uses IMM version 2021. As far as I know, based on my experience, no. I didn't have any problems with the IMM brushes. Maybe the problem can be related to the brush itself, or with the mesh you are trying to insert on the surface. I don't know. Don't worry about the name. I'm used to it. Okay, I was saying that, for example, you have the planes active. This is very useful because you have the design divided into 4 quarters. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is going to be very useful for rings or for bracelets. You can see most of the design is going to happen on the first two, the number 1 and number 2, and you can see here where is the middle of the design, to know when you are designing something, when you are wearing your bracelet, or when you are wearing the ring. Most of the design is going to be on top, so this is a good help to know when we are adding elements on the design where we have the top part and the bottom part. That's the reason why I keep them active when I am working. And the same thing on the front. So we know, for example, let's see, if we are working on the anatomy, on the tiger anatomy, and we are working on the arm here, and we have the arm here, where we can see here getting the plane active, visible on the, so we can see that we are putting more material here than here. So this is a good reference to keep it separated in 2 halves, to know that we are having a good balance between the 2 parts, the 2 sides, in this case from left to right from this view. So that's the reason why I used to have the same from the top or from the bottom, from the front. This is a good help to keep it active. So let's see, I'm gonna start working. Maybe what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the arm. I don't need to use the render tab anymore. Let's hide it. And let's work on the arm a little bit more. So let's work on the paw. I'm gonna grab the roof brush. This is not going to be a very realistic tiger representation. I mean, I don't want to be very worried about to achieve very accurate anatomy, but in terms of proportions, of course, I'm going to be worried about the lines. But I'm not going to put a lot of detail on the surface. I'm more looking for, like we are now, more clean shapes, soft lines, and soft transitions between each volume. But so for example, for the paw, maybe just to make something like this, let's grab clay build up without the alpha. This is one of my preferences, to use the clay build up without the alpha when I am sculpting, to start adding material. You are used to work with clay, with real clay, or with or with wax if we are talking about jewelry design. You know that when we are sculpting, we can be in two modes, or at least this is my way of thinking. We can be when we are adding material, or when we are removing material. So when I am adding material, most of the time I use the clay buildup without the alpha. So we are pushing out the polygons of the mesh with this brush. And for example, if I need to start refining the claw here, or the fingers, I start adding material with this brush. If I need to remove material using the Alt key, you know, I'm still working with the same material, and I start getting some soft transition between its different volume with this technique, like this, and always off most of the time, or mostly always, to be recognizing how each volume or how each line interacts with each other, or with the line that it's next to it, to start getting a good balance between the lines and between the volumes. I need to turn on my sculptors. Or maybe you already know, I use a lot Sculptris Pro, or when I am sketching, or when I am blocking the main forms of what I'm doing, because I think it gives to you a lot of freedom, because you don't care about the polygons, you don't care about you are not worried about the polygon, you are not worried about the topology, you are just focused on the volumes and the forms, and the Sculptris Pro do the rest. So that's the reason why I like to work with Sculptris Pro during the sketching stage, or the sketching part of the process. When we need to start refining the shapes, or adding more fine detail on the surface, or start getting softer planes or soft surfaces, then it's going to be time to switch from Sculptris Pro to Dynames or to ZBrush, depending on what we need. But during the sketching phase, or stage, or part of the process, I think the Sculptris Pro, it's going to be great. Hola Manuel. 10 minutes to 11 in India. Yeah. Yes, that's very far away from here. Welcome. So I'm gonna start using, you have been watching some of my stream, you know that I'm a big lover of the Sksk brush pack. You know that you can find this pack of brushes. You go to the art station, maybe. I'm gonna try to give credit to the artist. This is very important when you are using a work from other person, or from other artists. You can see it's this guy. This is I think maybe some of you already know him, because he is a ZBrush streamer as well. You can see here the SK comes from Sakaki Kaoru. This is he's a Japanese guy. So if you go to his store, you can grab his brushes here. And I used to work with them. so I love to how they work. Let's put it here. And then now I'm gonna grab this Sksk. I prefer to change the alpha, the default alpha for the 39. So I'm gonna start making this kind of corners or ridges with this brush. Let's see here, for example. I'm gonna, with this brush, I start defining the edges or the planes mostly, like this. For example, like this here. This is the thumb. I'm still using Sculpting Pro. It's going to be something like a cube. Maybe I can. This part of the paw is not going to be visible, but okay, that doesn't matter. Let's say you can see here. Let's break this form. This. And this to add this kind of bending here. Like this. Again, just not so long lazy mouse radius. Less. You know, when you are working with lazy mouse, depending on how long is the radius, you can work faster or not so fast, depending on the length of the mouse tail. This is going to be the arm. Let's move this a little bit. And it's almost, I like how it looks like at the moment. Let's move this. Okay, check your questions. Year 89 is asking, have you ever come across SVG import error in ZBrush, like a logo that you wouldn't know? Yeah, I don't use very often the SVG import in ZBrush, but as far as I have been testing it, maybe it's more an issue from the file, from the original file, from the SVG file than ZBrush itself. I don't know, maybe the kind of coding that the SVG file has maybe can cause the problem instead of ZBrush, as far as I know, based on my experience. Okay, you're welcome, Jacob. Thanks to be here anyway. You know that all of you know that you already know that you can rewatch, or you can catch up again the live on the different Pixologic social media websites like YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. You can watch it later. So okay, I think the arms works. I'm gonna duplicate this arm that it's mostly finished, almost finished. Okay, of course we can be here tweaking the arm all day, but to try to make some progress, I'm gonna leave it as it is. Let's turn this on. Let's see how far I am with the shoulder. Another good option, another good thing about having the grid visible when you are sculpting, you can see here, you You can see here the lines. And now I know that I am getting a good balance between the two sides. So let's leave it as it is. It's a good help to be working with the floor, with the 3 axes visible when you are making rings or bracelets. Let's duplicate it. So I have duplicate. Let's send it to the other side with the mirror. No, it's not this axis. I need to change from X to Z. And now I can send it to here. I'm gonna use this the same, where this is going to be here, more or less, and has to be rotated this way. And now move with the move brush. Let's put it on place. More or less, getting the other one as a reference, like this. Let's hide this one. I'm gonna change the paw here. I'm gonna put the fingers, this part of fingers are a little bit more extended. Read the mask, blur mask, and invert mask list. Put it more like this. You can see we are stretching a lot the mesh, but doesn't matter. This is the good things about the working with Dynames, with the Sculpting Pro during the sketching part of the process, because at any time you can fix the mesh, you can repair the mesh, and you can start with a brand new topology based on your new forms. Like this. And let's try. Gonna use this because the position is a bit different. You can see here the elbow, it's a little bit more to the left. This is the shoulder needs goes back a little bit more, and the wrist is more here, more like this. Okay. Even X, how long I have been using ZBrush? I have been using ZBrush, I think 15 years, maybe. I'm not good at maths. So I started using ZBrush in 2006. So I have been using ZBrush for many years. I think so, more than 10 years. And I use ZBrush all days, mostly, maybe at least from 6 to 10 hours all days. So I'm a big fan of ZBrush, of course. It's my main working tool, my way of life. This, let's change a bit the lines and the forms to don't make an exact replica of the other leg, of the other arm. So that mostly is going to be the same, but trying to don't do it so similar. start trying to change, to make some modifications. For example, I'm gonna create here an extra line here, for example, like this. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a tiger. At the moment, it hasn't stripes yet, but you can see it's a tiger. It's not a lion. Like the tigers, they are bigger than panthers or leopards, so the anatomy is a bit different. The shape of the head is a bit different too, of the face. I'm still not happy with the face, but maybe I'm starting getting something better, but I think I still need to work a little. I like a lot how it works from the side or from the front. I don't know. I'm not sure if it works or not yet, but I think it works. It's going to be a tiger, and maybe we are gonna prepare it to make the stripes. I have in mind to make the stripe with black stones or with black enamel gaps. Maybe we can make two versions, one with the stones and another one without the stones, and with the necessary spaces for the enamel. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate that you are here watching how I work. So, and I really appreciate that you support my work and you like what I'm doing. This really motivates me to keep going and to try to be here all the weeks, streaming or making new stuff with you. So this is one of the main things that I like to be here, is just to be here working with you and talking about ZBrush, of course, or jewelry, organic jewelry with ZBrush. So if you have any questions or suggestions or way of improving what you are watching, so just let me know. I will try to help you as more as I can based on my humble experience. Thing like this, it works good. Like this, it works good. I think let's work a little bit more on the shoulder here. You can see I'm still working like the way I work is working like a puzzle. When I am making the whole design with composed by different pieces, is still individual pieces, but now I'm gonna start merging things together. I start making booleans between the different parts of the body, but during the concepting or during the sketching part of the process, I prefer to keep everything separated as an individual subtools, because I have more freedom to modify or to add or remove things that I like or things that I don't like. I think gives you more freedom of creation when you are working with individual parts, instead of working with the same mesh from the same mesh or with the same mesh during the designing process. I'm gonna try to get here at a strength point to don't make it too sometimes I don't find the right words in English to leak point here, easy to break. So I'm gonna try to put all of the hands or paws contacted together for getting a strong contact point there. So Okay, I think it works. It works. It works. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is now is just the next phase, to the next. I don't know how to pronounce it. Stage or phase. When you take a step forward, you go to the next phase, or because so for me sounds like more like a phase, like I don't know how to pronounce it. So I'm gonna try to use another word. So to the next process, or to the next part of the process. Let's try to find a good synonym. So I'm gonna merge the arms. I'm gonna merge the neck with the arms, with the body, and with the main bracelet body, or bracelet ring. But I don't want to. I still want to play a little bit with the arms. I'm gonna keep them separated. I'm not going to create the welding point yet, so I'm gonna make a little gap between the two parts, like this. Let's grab this one, like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a folder first. I'm gonna grab where I am. This is I can delete this tool. I'm not going to use it anymore. Delete it. I'm not going to use the eyes. I'm not sure about the eyes yet, because I'm gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna create a new folder. This folder name is going to be the body parts. I'm gonna put everything inside. I'm going to remove, this is the all arm. I'm gonna delete it. Delete it. This is okay. I'm gonna delete this thing too, and I'm going to put this inside like this. I'm going to hide the head, the eyes, because I would like to keep it separated. The head, because if I'm just to give it a little bit of movement, not put it as strikes, no, maybe put it some more interesting shape like this, or maybe like this. I'm still not sure about what is going to be the final position of the head. That's the reason why I'm gonna keep it still as an individual tool. I'm gonna hide this, and I'm going to make a boolean of all of the visible parts now. So let's go here, boolean folder. I can close this folder, and now this is going to be my second part of the process. I'm gonna create a copy for the head, and this is going to be the second part of the process. To start working on the body, this, as you can see, this is already a single mesh. You can see the seam here between each individual, and now maybe it's gonna be time for create a new topology. Thanks to you, 88 Scrolls, to be here. I tried just trying to do my best. Please come in. This is amazing. Thank you very much for being here. And just curious what software you are using to see your screen and cast. Ooh. And you are saying what software I am using for streaming? You can see the OBS software. I know two. You can see a Streamlabs or OBS software. So you can streaming software. Let me see if I miss any of your questions. No. So let's create the new, I'm gonna create the duplicate. This is going to be, and now I'm going to create a new topology. Maybe, I think I'm not going to use any, I'm not going to need any more the polygroups. Okay, so go into geometry, series measure, and let's create a new topology with a half amount of polygons. Let's click on series measure. You can see now the topology have changed. Let's create an extra series measure to try to get a later topology like this. Okay, maybe let's see here. Now we can subdivide the mesh 2 times. Maybe I always try to be around 1 million and 2 millions. I don't like to work with more than, maybe I can say 2.5 millions or maybe 3 millions. I am talking about for each subtool. When I'm subdividing the mesh, I try to keep, for example, for this kind of a sculpting, maybe in my opinion, to stay around 1 million or 1.5 million will be more than enough, I think. Let's see if I am correct or not, but. And now it's going to be time to project, because this is the original shapes and this is the new topology. I'm gonna project the original details into the new topology. Going to project this. I'd like to set up the distance to 1 and the blur to 0 and project all. Okay, so we can start working with this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to polish a little bit this faceting finishing I'm getting here with the polish by feature. Let's start polishing here and here. I'm gonna smooth out a little bit all of the surface, maybe with the small touches of this with this thing closed. And I think I can start refining the shapes now. I'm not going to use this one anymore, so I'm going to use the smooth valleys with symmetry and Z to start merging this part. To start blending this point like this. And maybe what I can do, I'm using with symmetry at both sides of the time. We can apply here. Making that line a little bit longer. Maybe put another line here. And then we're gonna start refining the shapes. Maybe we can work here at the bottom. You can see that you can see that I'm working with 2 smooth brushes, smooth peaks or smooth valleys. You can see if I'm looking for to smooth the cavity, I use a smooth valley. To try to get a softer transition there or here as well. If not, it's going to be quite hard to polish. to achieve a good polishing. We are leaving 2 depth surfaces. And now, for example, if I try to blend the transition from this point to this point, now I can use a smooth bodies to try smoothing this. Let's see here. Like this, and okay. Okay, so let's refine a little bit more some shapes. How many polygons in Patty is asking? How many polygons in Dynames do you think is good for each subtool, and how many for the final sculpture? Yeah, it's a good question. My rule. This is I'm gonna save this first. This is going to be the number 3 version. Okay, so you know that most of the time I use this plugin, Dynames utility plugin. You know that you need to go to the resources on the Pixologic website, go into plugins, and there you will find this plugin. This is not the default way that you have of using Dynames here, where you need to decide which is the right resolution, and according on the selected resolution you will get a number of polygons. So I prefer do the opposite. So go into ZBrush, I select, for example, here you can select the amount of polygons you are looking for, and ZBrush will decide which is going to be the right resolution for that amount of polygons. For example, by default is set by 1.5. So if we can write here in a scale from 0 polygons to 1 million. This is going to be my main reference. 1 million, I don't know what say the word, like the colonia. So if I go here, so here the middle, here we have the case. So and above, as I said before, we can go here from 1 million, in my opinion, my personal case, till 3 millions maximum, maybe 3.5. My opinion is not going to be necessary to work with more. Talking about each subtool, not the whole model composed by different subtools. I am talking only about one subtool, one piece, one part of the design. So if we are making a sketch, or we are blocking forms, we can be here from 1. This is not going to be, has to be maybe 1. It's not that possible to work with 0. So here we are working with from 1 to 500k polygons. It's going to be enough to be playing with the forms, with the shapes. Once you start adding secondary forms, or maybe tertiary forms, maybe you can start reaching 500k and above, maybe 700k or 800k, till reaching more or less 1 million. Once you need fine detail, you are going to reach 1 million. So in my opinion, my personal taste is, if you, for example, you ask it, how many polygons in Dynames do you think is good for each subtools? If you are just using Dynames for sketching, maybe the right amount of polygons will be around maybe 500k, or maybe 600, or maybe 700k. It's going to be enough. Once you start adding, for example, the fine wrinkles or small folds, you start working on the lips, or you start working on the eyes, or you start working on the ear folds, or things like this, you're going to start reaching the 1 million. So stay there, maybe from 1 million to 1.5 million, and it's going to be enough, in my opinion. If you are looking for a lot of soft, smooth surfaces with a lot of detail, maybe you can stay above 2 millions. But in my opinion, it's not going to be necessary to stay above 3 millions, my opinion. Maybe the only cases I am above 3 millions, maybe I am reaching 4 millions, is where I am, for example, when you are creating textures, when you are trying to replicate a very fine detail of a snake skin, for example, when you are looking for very clean scales or things like this, maybe in that case you're going to need 4 millions. But just for this kind of sculpture or this kind of model, I'm gonna be always below 1 million or maybe 1.2 millions and no more. So this is the 1 million rule. So stay below 1 million when you are sketching and you are defining forms. When you need detail, reach the 1 million, 1.5 and stay there. What pen tool is that you are using to write on the screen? I'm using a Wacom Cintiq 22 inches tablet. Are you working later with the divide instead of that? Now I'm working with subdivisions. You can see this is my lowest subdivision. This is my higher subdivision. I am almost reaching 1 million. And it's going to be enough, I think, because if I divide it one more time, I'm almost reaching 4 millions, and for me, it's not going to be necessary. The difference between 1 million and 4 million for such kind of sculpting that I am doing. So I'm gonna remove this. I prefer to, it's going to be enough to stay here. So to don't be here making the same thing during the whole stream, I'm gonna try to make some fast strokes. And let's take the next step is to start thinking about to make the stripes, and if we have time to make it hollow inside. We can be here refining and cleaning shapes the whole day, but let's keep it as more simple as possible. Let me see, Anatoly. Excuse me, I was speaking about the tool that you are using when you were writing. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm using this as an Epic Pen application. You have the free version on the pro version, where you need to pay, but you have a free version. This is going to be very useful for making explanation on the screen. Epic Pen. I think he means for yeah, it was my fault. I thought that you were talking about this pen, not the application. You prefer to work with subdivisions? I think maybe the way I can say I work 70% with Dynames, or 80% in Dynames, and maybe 20% with subdivisions. I don't used to work with subdivision. I prefer to work with Dynames in combination with the Sculpting Pro. Yeah, like me. I've that kind of people. The people who don't like to work with subdivisions, or don't like to work too much with subdivision, depending on the thing that you are doing. In some cases, for example, when you need a UV mapping or apply a texture, for example, you need to work with subdivisions. But talking about just the sculpting, creating forms or shapes. I prefer maybe 90% of the times working with Dynames. And why I did this with subdivision instead of Dynames, because the reason why I select to work with subdivisions now instead of Dynames is because I'm gonna change the pose of the arm. So if I go to the lowest subdivision, it's going to be easier to bend the arm without affecting the details on the surface. That's the reason why I choose to work with subdivision now instead of go with Dynames, because I'm gonna do what I am talking. Let's make it here. Let's grab this without the symmetry, of course. Let's grab this part. Let's grab the arm. Let's grab a little bit more of the arm here. I'm gonna remove this portion. Now I can blur the mask. That's the reason why I'm working with subdivision instead of Dynames now. Blur the mask, and now I can make change the pose. Easily with subdivisions instead of Dynames. And now I can change the rotation of the wrist. Let's put it here. Okay, so that's the reason why I work with subdivision now instead of go directly with Dynames. Okay. You are welcome, Jones. That's my rule. This is what I call the 1 million rule. Is always keep an eye on the poly count when you are close to 1 million, or when you stay in half of a million, depending on the level of detail that you need. You will be closer to 1 million or farther away of 1 million, depending on the level of detail that you need. So as closer to 1 million, you need more detail or smooth surfaces, maybe we can say too as well. Let's change the shape a little bit. Refine again the lines. Like this. This. Another brush that I love to work with is the Sksk Polish, where you can start polishing the surface. It's like when you are using a soft sandpaper, you start sanding the surface and just start getting planes like this. Most of the works from the Sksk pack works very softly. Maybe that's the reason why I love how they work, because the results that you can achieve with them, they are very, very soft results. Let's hide this. You have the H polish, is the the brush, the polishing brush that you will find by default with ZBrush, you can see the result is mostly the same, but depending on the kind of polishing that I need, I prefer to work with the Sksk Polish instead of the H polish. Now let's grab this. Now let's polish this. Working with mask is very important too. This, like this, here and there. So refining. Let me see your questions. So if I need the right topology, I should rather use subdivision. If you need the right topology, I should depending on what you call right topology. For example, for me at the beginning, the Sculpting Pro was a good topology at that part of the process. Depending on what you need to do, it's better to use one topology or other. Talking about the Sculpting Pro or Dynames or the default quads, regular quads mesh, depending on the kind of finishing that you are looking for or the kind of job you are doing. There are many different right topologies. It would be the same if you work with Dynames and then you move the sculpture with Transpose Master. Yeah, you can I'm gonna say first, you can use the Transpose Master with Dynames. You can do it, but the transitions between the joints when you are bending an arm, or when you are bending a leg, or you are rotating a head or whatever, you will get softer transitions, a much better transition working with subdivisions with a low amount of polygons instead of working with Dynames. Again, talking about saying again the same when you are on the sketching part of the process, when you are just blocking, you are just designing the forms of your design. At that point, it's not necessary to make a very clean and right topology, because at that point you are just stretching, pulling and pushing the polygons, making new forms, and you are working very fast. At this point you can use Transpose Master, Sculpting Pro in combination with Dynames or whatever. So once you like what you are getting, so it's the time to take one step forward and change from Dynames to ZBrush and start working with a more regular quad mesh. This is the main idea. I would be saying what how do you make sharp edges? Got a thumb. I would be the same. Yeah. How do you make sharp edges? Depending on, for example, if I need an edge here, I use the Sksk with it. By default, you can see it makes wrinkles or ridges, and you can use the Alt key, and now you can start making the, for example, from this point to this point, and this is going to be a sharp edge. For example, here you can see here you have a kind of a valley here. You can use this another brush that I love, well, from the Sksk pack, Sksk Clay Fill. When you're filling gaps or depressions, you can start filling this gap. The brush is too big, so you're gonna start filling this gap a little bit. Now it's almost filled, like this. And now with the Sksk Polish, you're gonna start polishing this, and then you start getting a sharp corner there. You can achieve it in combination of maybe two brushes, mainly the Sksk and the H polish. For example, I'm going to create a new plane here. Let's turn on the symmetry. This case lash 1, 2, like this, and now 8 Sksk Polish. You can start polishing this part on the other plane, and you will get this sharp edge happening here in the middle. Because the reason why I use two brushes, because the Sksk slash brush, you can see, has this alpha. This alpha means that when you are pulling out the mesh, you are getting, instead of getting this, just get something more like this. So that's the reason why you need to fill in a little bit this gap to have a 45 degrees angle or more sharp angle. Yeah, the Sksk brushes are for free. Yeah. The Sksk Polish doesn't come with the pack anymore, really? You can see them, they are for free. There are two packs, the packs number 1 or the packs number 2. I'm not sure, because I have them from many years ago. No. Could I share with you here my attempts of it? You could tell me what do you think the main thing I'm doing wrong? Yeah, you can share it. Sure. I never see you before your sculptor. Thank you very much. How good you go to make fur on the sculpture? Yeah. The fur, for example, if I need to make fur here, this is one of the reasons why I can go from 1 million, as I was talking before, 1 million, just for getting this kind of finishing. But if we need fur, of course, maybe 1 million or 1.5 million is not going to be enough topology. Maybe we can go to, we need to subdivide it again. Divide, so with almost 4 millions. Most of the time what I do when I need to make fur, I use the same brush, Sksk slash, but I do is to make a double alpha. Instead of 1, I make 2. You can go alpha, modifiers. Here you can change the tiles depending on vertically or horizontal or vertical. You can see what you can achieve. With 2, you can start making things like this and start making fur, adding fur like this. But I don't like the fur texture here. I'm not going to make a fur texture, I think so. But this is going to be the main blocking for the fur. Of course, the first stage, this is going to be this. I can call this is going to be the detail. Let's make it more intensity, like this. But you get, will be better to start with clay build-up without the alpha and start making big chunks of fur first, like this. One bigger than the other, for example, like this. And once you have this, you can go to the detailing part and you start breaking the things depending on the kind of fur you're looking for. This, we can call this kind of fur long fur, maybe long medium fur, to start making things like this. Or if you go with shorter strokes, you can achieve shorter looking fur. For example, let's make it lazy mouse even shorter, so where you can start making different rows. Of course, this will take time to cover the whole body with a lot of, but I think it's the best way to achieve a very high quality or good looking fur on the surface. You start making things like this, because if you are looking for any automatical way of creating fur, most of the time it doesn't work. And using price, well, I use something the other way. The special was, let me read the question again. I never seen you before. Okay, I'm gonna put something on the screenshot. I'm gonna let me pronounce your name, Reficool66. It's well said. I'm gonna check it out then. Hold on. So can I put something on the screen? Can you please also explain different between Dynames and Sculptors Pro? Yeah, of course. I wanna explain it. Yeah, hi there. Say you are using a special brushes. Yeah, I can give you again the link. You can go to the art station. You will find a guy called, where are you? Here. This is the name of the guy who made the brush pack. Go to Sakaki and then go into his store. You will find them here. They are for free. Sksk brushes pack. I'm trying to make a hat, so I'll show you how those game and everything. And okay, differences between the Sculptors Pro and Dynames. I'm gonna read and do. Well, another trick that I can show you is when you have the fur, what you can do is go back from history till the beginning of the process of the first, before you made the first stroke here, here, and now pressing the Control and tap, you can see the orange frame appears on here. Now you can go to the end again, and now you can go to the adjust last. Oh, I made it wrong. I made something wrong. Let's make it again. Maybe this is different with the new version. Here? No, here. Here. If we come back here to the beginning, we can just you can use that. Now it start working. You can start adjusting. If you can see they are not strong enough, you can add more definition to your strokes here. You can do this, or what you can do is go into, let's make a mask here. Where the mask, go into polygroups. I prefer to use this method and I start working the contrast to start adding. The reason why it goes so slow is because I'm working with almost 4 million, but you can see you can add more contrast and more definition of your strokes. It's not necessary to anymore to give the right strength to your strokes for the first time. If you don't like how they looks like, you can add more contrast or more strength after. So, for example, if I'm gonna come back to this one, and you can see here we have a big mix of different topologies. I started from primitives. Here we have the topology of the Sculptors Pro. If I go to Sculptors Pro, you can see here when you are the main difference between the Sculptors Pro and Dynames is because when you are using a Sculptress Pro, you are making topology on the fly. At the same time, when you are sculpting, you are making new polygons. In Dynames, you are modifying the polygons. At some point, you tells to ZBrush to build a new mesh, but it is not automatical. So, for example, if I let's grab this brush. For example, now I'm using a Sculptress Pro. You can see if I pulling the mesh, I am creating a new form, and the new form is completely created with new polygons. At the same time, where I am pulling out the polygons from the surface. But if I turn this up, if I use the same brush, this is what I am doing. I am not creating polygons when I am pulling, and now I need to repair the new polygon with the Dynames. Oh yeah, like this. Let's create a lower resolution. So don't be here waiting so much time. Let's create I don't know, 56 maybe. Even lower, 8. Like this. So you create the form and control drag and create a new mesh. So with the Sculptress Pro, it's not necessary to tell to ZBrush when I need a new topology. I am creating the new topology when at the same time I am sculpting. That's the reason why Sculptress Pro is very powerful when you are using it during the sketching part of the process. So because during that process, you are just focused on the forms about what you are creating. You are not worried about the topology, so you are just creating things and sculpting. And during the process, you can tell to ZBrush to rebuild again the mesh or create new topology on the fly, depending on the system you are using. I use a combination of both. Most of the time, I start always with a Sculptress Pro, just the sketching, blocking forms. And once I like what I'm getting, I go to Dynames, because with Dynames you are able to get softer surfaces than with the Sculptress Pro. Leave it as it was like this, and let's come back to the original. And I'm trying. Let me check your image. I'm not going to show it. Yeah, you are trying to create a face, a head. I think that you are on the right way. I think so. But I think what are you using? Are you using Dynames or are you using Polymesh? Maybe I recommend to you to start using at this point Sculptress Pro or Dynames, because for example, when you start creating the eyelids or the eyes, you start feeling that the polygons becomes dirty and stretched. So now it's time to rebuild the mesh. So if you are using the Sculptress Pro, as we have seen before, you can sculpt at the same time when you are creating forms. So you are not worried about the topology anymore. But during the Dynames, you can make the eyelid, rebuild the mesh, follow refining. So it's like rebuilding, refining. So till getting better shapes or cleaner shapes. Ooh, there are many comments missed. Not sure what is the main problem. How do you get? What do you think? What is the thing that you don't like about the head you are doing? You started in the field of 3D jewelry design. What are the basics one should have done to start job searching? Well, I started in the 3D jewelry field design 10 years ago. From now, maybe, because I was making illustrations with ZBrush, so just making concepts and completely different things. So, but I met people who were making jewelry, and that's the reason why I started making jewelry and I start being focused instead of making non-concrete things. So I start making sculptures applied to your design. So I think it's going to be important to select the field that you want to be specialized, because today there are many people who already know how to make many different things. Depending on the field that you like, you'll want to make characters, or I don't know, jewelry, or toys. There are many fields that you can do. That's the big the good thing, the main good thing about ZBrush is that you can do maybe almost, or I can say everything. Doesn't matter. Hola Fernando. Can we change mouse control like blend and Maya? Mouse control for what do you want to change to mouse control? Are you saying that you would like to change from pen to a mouse? I think for working with ZBrush with a mouse hasn't too much sense. I think so. It's like drawing with a mouse. Hasn't too much sense, I think so. You have more control with on the strokes with a pen instead of a mouse. Of course, I'm talking about the pressure sensitivity that you have when you are using a pen on a screen or on a tablet. Will give you a lot of more things than pressing a button on a mouse. Maybe for low poly models, when it's not necessary to sculpt anything, maybe you can use a mouse, like you said, with Maya or with Blender. But in your sculpting, sculpting is a more artistical. You need more artistic skills for artistical hand. So you need more an artistical tool to sculpt instead of modeling or pulling or pushing polygons or sides or vertex from a mesh. Thank you very much, Bet Sonny. Let me see if I pronounce it well. Thank you very much. If Tattoo says if I want to keep a beveled up object with denser polygon closer to edge and very low on the top surface, what is the procedure? Let me see if I understood you well. You want to keep a beveled up object. What do you mean with a beveled up object? I don't know. With denser polygon closer to the edge and very low on the top surface. Okay, what you can do, for example, I'm gonna save this. Depending on the thing, maybe try to find an answer for like this with a non-specific sample. It's going to be difficult to say, but what you can do, let me say, make polymesh frame. You are using the series measure. Inside of the series measure, you have this control, this adaptive size. If I let's say what it does by default, so adapt 50 and 50. You can see now when ZBrush tries to replicate all the forms as more as it can. So that's the reason why we have more stretch polygons here in the border than in the middle of the body. So that's the main, this could be the answer of your question. For example, you can force to give it more strength to the edge. You can apply 100 and you will get this. You will get more dense topology here and less polygons here to apply more detail here than here. Maybe could be that the answer of your question. Dynames wax. What do you mean about Dynames? Dynames. Dynames wax 120. It's Dynamex. Dynamex. Sounds funny. Dinosaur. Dino from dinosaur. Yeah, I used the small. I'm gonna show you Reficul 66. I'm gonna give you a, this is not trick. I don't like to talk about tricks because everything is already invented. I just discover things from other artists. So what you can do here, for example, let's make a subdivide here. Let's grab, for example, play build up. I'm gonna use now the alpha. For example, let's more subdivisions. You can start making strokes here, and then you smooth them out. Let's use this default smooth brush. You can smooth them. Smooth works more like when you are using a file or a sandpaper on the surface. You are destroying the detail on the surface. Or if you are working with real clay, when you are making big forms and you grab water on your hand, you start melting or fading or blending the strokes on the surface with water or with any other liquid. So this is what you are doing with the smooth brush mainly. When you find some irregularities on the surface and you try to smooth them, but you start using and just I'm gonna try to say it again. So for example, you use the shift key, of course, to use the smooth brush. You kind of start smoothing the surface, but at any point when you release the finger from the keyboard, you're gonna relax the mesh instead of destroy the detail. Maybe I'm gonna need more polygons here. Let's create a new sample like this, smooth and without the finger. You can say we are preserving the detail here, because if we keep the finger on the shift key while we are smoothing the surface, we are destroying the surface. But now here we are not destroying the strokes. Maybe there are two ways, and of course here you have another brush. Yes, smooth valley, smooth peak, smooth alt. Try to do the same thing. Smooth alt, it works more relaxing the mesh instead of smoothing the mesh or destroying the details on the surface. I recommend to try them if you don't know them. I use the smooth a lot. Yeah, I use the smooth a lot. I'm always, let's come back to the tiger. I'm always making a stroke, a smooth, a stroke, a smooth, a stroke, a smooth. This is not my normal way of working. For example, here, this mode, I create a line and I smooth the line. I make a line and a stroke. I make a stroke and relax the stroke with the smooth brush all the time. That's very similar, like yours, my way of working, because I like to keep the surfaces as more as I can smooth and without imperfections. I went to define. I need a way to define the lips, for example. For some reason, I can't shape them well enough. Let me see For the lips, I recommend to you to use the mask, for example. Let's grab an sphere, frame, make a polymesh. Let's subdivide them. 1, 2, 3. Here again, now I'm in the middle of 1 million. If I hit one more time divide, I am having the double amount of polygons I want to get. This almost more than 2 million. So instead of going directly to 2 million, let's say 500,000 and see what happens with. Let's grab the Sksk Polish. Let's grab an sphere. So we can try to make a mouth here. Like this and like this. It's like using this brush, or you can use, for example, one of the default brushes, Dynames standard brush. The same thing with the Dynames standard. Dynames standard works almost the same, but it's not exactly the same. But I prefer more how it works. You can see the differences between one and the other. I prefer to use the Sksk. And now, what I recommend to you is start working with once you have maybe the mouth is too long here. Like this, do here. For the mouth, I recommend to you to work with, just try to refine shapes with a mask. So what you can do now, start working with mask lasso, and you can grab the lower part of the mouth, and you can work with the lips, with the upper lips and the lower lips individually, instead of trying to define the border between the two lips together. You can see here, you pull them here, pull them here from the inside. You can start smoothing the surface. For example, I can get the Sksk fill, this invert the mask. You can, and now you can apply, you can get a better defined mouth like this, instead of try to get the right definition on the mouth. So working with masking thing should be better. Like this. Depending on the kind of mouth you want to make, of course. And this is what you can do. I prefer to remove the out, depending on the kind of. Here we can correct the mask again here, and working individually with depending, for example, you are looking for more like this, or I don't know, or you are looking for to make more smiling here. This is the, depending on the kind of mouth you are looking for. But play with the mask instead of trying always to achieve good results with sculpting strokes, because always keep in mind the sculpting process on ZBrush. It's a combination of freehand strokes with your sculpting skills, but there are many possibilities inside of ZBrush to help you to achieve better results. One of them is to use a mask instead of trying to make a fold just with a brush stroke. I want you to do this. Okay, let me find out what I make the head with a mouse and the head pen. Yeah. This is another problem that you are having, trying to sculpt a face or a head with a mouse. It's not necessary to buy a very expensive tablet. With a cheap tablet, I started with a tablet. It cost, I think, 50 euros. But it's going to be enough. Hola Raúl, bienvenido. Okay, I think let me revise again your questions. I didn't miss any. Okay, I think let's come back to the tiger, and let's just start thinking about the. Here I have a problem. Yeah, this is it's not so thick here than here. What I'm gonna do is, let's grab the move brush with the back face active, with the symmetry on, make this thicker. And I'm going to grab this case lash. Now I'm gonna need longer tail of the mouse, so bigger lazy mouse radius. So this is the reason why you need to use a tablet instead of a mouse to create this kind of strokes I already made. Do this with the mouse is a nightmare, I think. Let's grab, for example, Sksk Polish. Let's start polishing this. Just to try to keep the same style on the tail than on the rest of the body. Like this. But again, the interior of the ring is going to be flat due to the subtraction of the Boolean subtraction here. I'm gonna create double symmetry, and I have left and right. Let's add this side, so let's make it without the back face. Like this, because in the interior it's going to be almost flat. And also we are gonna keep it lighter. Let's turn this off to don't make it too thick or too heavy. Try to keep this part of the design as thinner as possible. Like this. So let's try to start making. I'm gonna grab this first. Let's find this a little bit. I'm gonna create. This is just for personal taste. Now I'm using the Sksk Polish to start polishing this part. Like this. And now with the smooth peaks, I'm gonna relax the edge. Okay. Okay, so let's save this. To correct the, I'm gonna talk about how to correct the stripes. I'm gonna grab mask pen. I'm gonna set the focal shift to -100. I'm gonna turn on the lazy mouse, lazy steps to 0, to being able to create well-defined lines. And let's start making. Now this part of the body is completely symmetrical, so I can. Yeah, I'm going to start creating the stripes like this. We can put one here, another one here. Control Alt to refine the edges. For example, I'm gonna put here, and let's change the direction here. For example, let's make it here. I don't care about the moment, about the definition. You can see here we have less polygons here. That's the reason why the mask looks like more like pixelated stroke, but I don't care about it because we can refine it later. Maybe we can put here another stripe here. This. Let's put another one. Maybe the tail is too long. This. Maybe if I break this one also. Yeah, looks better like this. And I'm going to be here trying to make the whole body stripes, just to explain to you which is going to be the process. I'm gonna try to make this on my free time, so for the next string try to get it completely done. I'm gonna try, at least. Not sure if I'm going to have time, but so once we have this, the maskings, all the masks ready, let's refine this a little bit more. Let's put here a corner here, another corner here, here. This, let's make this shorter, like this. I'm gonna break this into 2 pieces. I'm gonna merge this. Yeah, more something like this. Now it's just a matter to being here, painting and deciding what you like, what you don't like. That's the reason why I prefer to work with this process, because with a mask you can remove the mask you don't want, or you can paint a new one. This is a non-destructive way of working. Try to get this here. And hi. Yeah, it's almost impossible to pronounce your name. Not. And now what I do is, what I recommend to use to when you have in mind to start creating a gap for enameling, to put enamel inside, or to set the stones inside. The most important thing is the depth of the box. For example, here, if I go here, we are gonna create something like this. This is going to be the border. This is going to be from the inside. This is going to be okay, something more or less something like this. So the important thing is how depth you do this. This is how depth is this gap. As far as I know, the necessary gap for a good enamel, it should be no less than 0.6 millimeters. So it should stay above 0.6 millimeter. Maybe 0.5 or maybe 0.7 should be fine. But the way that I have to control this depth based on a mask is this external plugin. I'm gonna open here my left tray. I'm gonna grab this is my plugin. You are gonna need this plugin. Where is it? Precision Extract. With this plugin, you can tell to ZBrush the thickness of the extraction. So Now it's by default is set by 1 millimeter, but you are looking for 0.6 millimeter depth gap. I'm gonna 0.6, enter, and now create precise extract. And there you go. So now we have a new subtool here. Let me see if I've done it well. Yeah. Yes, I'm checking this because here you know that here you have the possibility to turn this on or off, the double. In this case, it's completely necessary to keep this active because you are extracting the same amount, the same thickness from the outside than from the inside. So now we are looking for the inside part of the extraction. So it's going to be necessary to keep this active. So this is what we get. Let's polish by feature. Let's apply some polishing. You can noticing that you are modifying a lot the mesh. That means that we are polishing a mesh composed with a very low amount of polygons. You can see it's only composed by 22,000 polygons. What we can do is divide it to start getting more polygons. And now when we are smoothing, you can see that we are the deformation now it's lower than before. It's like we are using a harder material. So if we are still not happy with the result, let's divide it again. Now we can start polishing the surface with less deformation. And now, of course, this is going to be a negative mesh. So keeping this active, like Boolean, and this is going to be our gaps. So if I'm gonna check the measurement here, zoom in, I'm gonna turn this off to use the transpose line from this point to this point. Let me make it again. Okay, here I am getting 0.55861. Yeah, 0.6 millimeter. It's okay. If we are looking for not so close to the border or to the limits, maybe we can set here instead of 0.6, maybe we can set here 0.65 to have a bit of flexibility here on the gap. And now the good thing about the live Boolean, we can grab, for example, the move topological brush, and now I can say we can decide. We can start defining the shape of the stripes in the case we don't like it. Like this. Let's paint it in black. Let's put a darker color. RGB field object. So now we start getting here the necessary gaps for the animal or for the stone setting. This man made lips with 2 cuts. Yeah, we have only 1 cut, two strokes, and that's it. Got it. You have a lip. Hey, Tariq Morgan, how are you? I'm fine. How are you doing? The difference between move and move topological, we have a big difference between both. For example, here we have individual meshes. Okay, so if I want to affect only to one part, to one piece, without affecting the others, it's going to be necessary to use move topological. For example, here, if I want to extend this a little bit, I'll start refining here. Or for example, if I turn on my IQ curve to start getting more corners or pointy finishings like this, it's going to be necessary to use the move topological brush, because ZBrush recognizes that we are moving individual parts, individual pieces. So if we use the move brush, the default move brush, when we are moving one, you can see we are affecting to the others. So with the move topological ZBrush recognize the topology continuity, and that's the reason why I selected this brush to move the stripes. Let's make it bigger here. So this is going to be my... So with this process, we can follow, start continuing making stripes and stripes. Maybe on the top here. I think here we have too many. I should be thinking about it. Which is going to be the best layout for the stripes. And this is the best thing about this. This is a non-destructive way of working, because if we don't like what we are getting, we can remove this subtool and we can start again making new stripes. So let's come back to here. I don't like how it looks like. Maybe I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove this one, and I'm gonna make it, instead of 3, I'm going only to put 2 to make it more easy to manufacture and we can follow working with. We can rip this 1, 2, 3 like this, and here we can put another one here, and this is going to be the main process about how to make the stripes. And this is not completely symmetrical. It's going to be necessary to make one side and then the other side. Of course, if we are making stripes like this, it's going to be important to know that we are not making the stripe too thin, so we can be taking measurements while we are painting here from this point to this point. Now here we are having 1.47 millimeter thick. Maybe it's going to be enough, but if we make it wider, it's going to be much better. So during the process, we can be taking measurements during the process to know that we are making things right and not too thin, or maybe not too heavy on some cases. Hey Burke, hello, how are you doing? Timothy Bowden, move topological will move polys that are closest to the cursor on this. No. Move topological moves recognize the mesh continuity. So you are, for example, if we have a mesh composed by different parts of different meshes, or if we have one subtool composed by different meshes, we can move them individually instead of move them all of them together. And also you can do this, for example, and it's going to be very useful for, you can apply this. Let's, for example, let's put some hair here. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna delete lower the subdivision. This is the right one. For example, here we have the eyes. No nose, no problem. So if we, for example, I'm going to use this brush. The zero measure guides. I'm gonna start making some strands of hair. So this, another one here. I'm making something wrong. I think so. What? What's happening? Okay. Something like this. If I grab now the curve tube snap, I don't know why is happening this. We are making the hair on the space. Being honest, I don't have any idea why it's happening like this. Let's say split apart. I don't know. Let's make one strand. Maybe, I don't know. Well, let's grab another sphere. I don't know what is happening there. It's still happening. If I grab a plane. Oh. You can see what is happening. We are making the stroke lost in the space. I don't know. I don't have any idea what is happening this. I'm gonna save the tiger. I'm gonna close and launch again ZBrush. Let's say I don't want to save it. Launch it again. Let's grab an sphere now. Make polymesh. Now let's see if it works now. No, yes. No. Now, for example, if I want a stroke, another stroke, another stroke, another stroke, another stroke, we can think that this is going to be something like hair strands. This. Now, if I grab the move topological, we can start moving them individually because we are moving individual meshes. But what you can do also is this, because here it doesn't look like hair. Of course, it looks like more like tubes or rasta looking. So, for example, let's put this on top. Let's put this behind, something like this. Okay, so if we are looking for example, to start making the tips thinner, if we grab the smooth peaks in this case and we are start smoothing, we are looking for to smooth only this one without affecting the others. It's not possible because we are smoothing everything, because we are smoothing the same subtool. But if we turn on the topological feature to the smooth brush, let's make the intensity lower, we can start smoothing this step, this step, this step individually without affecting the others. That means that this is a feature that you can apply to any of the existing brushes. For example, you will find it here inside of brush. I think it is surface. I don't remember what it was. Okay, it was here. Control. It was on brush path, browse, auto masking, topological. Okay. Auto masking. Here you have the option topological or not topological. If I subdivide this, if I start making the fur texture I made before, let's add more polygons. I grab my Sksk with 2 tiles here. If I start creating, let's make it more intensity, only 2, not 3. Okay, so I can start making things. You can see if I make a stroke here, I am affecting this part as well. But if I turn this on, you can see now it's going to be, you're only affecting this part, but not this part. And this can be very useful for many applications. Or for example, the inflate brush. You can inflate with topological, we can inflate this without affecting the others. And this is going to be very, very useful for many applications. So keep in mind with this feature that could be very useful for many things. Let's grab this again. Let's come back to your questions. Multiple, how do you set your brush to set this delay, sensation, flow in the brush? You can, I think you are talking about when I was painting the stripes, right? So the only thing that you should do is go into the stroke, lazy mouse, and turn on your lazy mouse. And I prefer to set up the lazy steps to 0. And now you're gonna start creating the delay. This kind of a small red line appears. That means that we are creating a delay. So everything becomes slower. So this allows us to make more precise strokes. And I prefer to set this up to -100 like this. This is the delay, the lazy mouse. Yes, you are right, Ayala. Just try Topological, and it also works great with polygroups. Yes, with polygroups, you can do the same with polygroups. I think the feature about polygroups is here. What it was? Directional, cavity mask, color mask, backface, mask by polygroups here. For example, if you have a sphere, this one, the same as before. If we go here, we paint a mask here. We hit on Control W. We have 2 polygroups, right? So we go to the Move brush. Now by default, we move all together. But if we go to brush, and we play with this setting, with this slider, mask by polygroup, you can see here we are affecting only to one polygroup without affecting the other. If we apply more strength here, 100, so we can do this. This is going to be very useful for create this kind of things. For example, one application for this, we are looking for to make a face. Where's my sim here? If I turn on my symmetry, where's my symmetry? It's here. Symmetry here. If I paint, I'm gonna turn off my lazy mouse now. Same thing here, we have applied here to the polygroup, so let's put here. Control W. With the mouse, we can affecting only this. This is a good way for example, to do something like this. For example. And then it's too much. It's too much to ask you. You can give us your, yeah, of course. You can go to my website. Let me see your question first. Topological. Who decided to set the sensation from the task? You can, yeah, you can grab my custom interface if you go to my website. Let me find it. Well, here. You go to my website. It's nachoriesco.com. You can go to resources, and now you have among of different keyshot materials. This is a filter for jewelry illustration, alphas, and here at the bottom you can grab my custom interface. Just clicking here, and you will be able to install on your computer if you want. Just go into my website, to the resources area of my website. Okay, now we are done. So this is what I did for today. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna stay here working again on this design, because I'm gonna show you how to make it completely hollow inside. I'm gonna try to put a hinge mechanism to try to open it and close it. I'm still thinking how to do it, so I don't have too much experience about hinges and bracelet mechanisms. And I will try to complete the design. So I'm not going to go more far away than the next week, I think so. So to start thinking about which is going to be the next theme or the next design for my next streamings. So I think has been useful for you today's stream. I hope you have learned things, or I gave you some ideas about how to do the things, and I really appreciate your support, that you are here watching my stream. So I will wait you next Wednesday. Will be at same hour next Wednesday, same hour, 6 p.m. here on the Central Europe time. Again, I really appreciate you are tuning in with me for today. You have learned so many techniques today. As Leona says, I'm very happy with that, because that's my main goal about my streaming. I'm trying to show you my way of working. I hope it likes you. And thank you very much. Really appreciate your support. And you can find me on the social media. Here on the screen you have my ArtStation and my Instagram profile. You can reach me there. You can send me your questions or your comments or whatever. I will be glad to help you. And again, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here with me, sharing this time, 2 hours every Wednesday. Yeah, my ArtStation link, you can go here. This is my ArtStation. You type in my name, it's Nacho Riesco, Riesco. You will find me here on ArtStation. You go to Instagram, you will find me under a different name. My name in Instagram is Escultura Digital 15. It means Digital Sculpture 15. This is going to be my Instagram. Here you will find mostly different stuff, but mostly the same that you can find here. And if you go to my personal webpage, find it again. Here I am. So you can go to my galleries, and here on the galleries you can see digital renders for all of my personal jobs. Here you will find many. This is mostly the job that I'm allowed to make public, to post on the internet. So most of them are my own designs. They are not private commission or works for others. And if you go to here to the cam and casting section, here you will find some samples about what you have seen before on the renders. Here you will find the real pieces on the real prints, or the real manufactured, already manufactured on pieces. Okay, so again, thank you very much. I'll wait you next Wednesday. Take care, keep ZBrushing. You can hit the like and subscribe. That will help a lot to the Pixologic channel. And we'll see you next week. So take care and bye.